And also when cortisol is released, you are also less sensitive to pain. So cortisol by itself is not the bad guy here. It's the excessive release, which happens only when you are stressed, that makes all the bad things that cortisol does. Welcome to Day Spring Life and Health channel. Today we're going to talk again about stress and how stress can affect your health. All right, so we already talked about what stress is and what causes stress and all that in our previous video. So if you haven't seen that, make sure you check on the channel and look for that video, because that will make more sense, before watching this. So stress can cause disease, and we're going to talk about how stress actually causes sickness or cause chronic diseases. All right, so the way we're following it through this way, the way stress works is when you are stressed, your body releases a hormone called cortisol, which we all call the stress hormone. Now, when cortisol is produced by a gland called adrenal gland in your body, and when cortisol is released, what happens is cortisol causes your body to release glucose into the blood. Any glucose that is in the blood is not going to be stored in your muscles. So it makes glucose available right there in your blood. Insulin is not going to be released to store up glucose. So you don't release any insulin at that point, because the body wants you to be able to use the available glucose as a form of energy to fight or run away from the danger. So it means that your glucose levels are going to go up in the blood. The other thing is that your arteries narrow, that leading to your blood pressure increase, so that your heart pumps and then you have a higher blood pressure. Your blood pressure is going to go up because the heart begins to work harder, because it's sensing that you are going to be in a dangerous situation. So you need the blood to be pumped into your muscles and your skeletal body, so you can run away from the fear or the danger that you are seeing. Another hormone called epinephrine, or when you're in stress situation, epinephrine and norepinephrine also become released, and this also increases your heart rate. So first of all, you are getting an increased heart rate. You are getting glucose also dumping in your blood. Your blood pressure goes up. So this is when stress is happening. So imagine this is going to happen chronically in a situation when we call chronic stress. If this happens all the time, your body is going to continuously make sure that your glucose is staying in your blood, and therefore you get high blood glucose or diabetes eventually. And even if you take insulin, or even if insulin is released, it is not going to work, because your body is going to reject storing the glucose. It feels like it needs the glucose to fight or to run away from the danger, which is causing you to have stress. So that is how stress makes you sick, in a nutshell. We want to tell you that cortisol is not an enemy, because in normal levels in the morning, cortisol is released when you wake up or when you exercise. Normal cortisol is responsible for your blood pressure being regulated to be normal. It's also responsible for your heart muscles, contracting and relaxing, basically making your heart muscles stronger. And also when cortisol is released, you are also less sensitive to pain. So cortisol by itself is not the bad guy here. It's the excessive release, which happens only when you are stressed, that makes all the bad things that cortisol does. So now, the diseases that stress can lead to, chronic stress can lead to, include obviously high blood pressure, because we already see even in an acute situation, your blood pressure goes up. So high blood pressure is one. The second one is you can also get high glucose levels or hyperglycemia, which eventually may lead to a type 2 diabetes. And when these two happens over a long period, obviously you could get a heart attack. And even in an instance, even in an acute situation, or when you are stressed, when you feel like something is happening, the jump in your blood pressure alone can lead to a heart attack. And so if it becomes consistent, then you are definitely prone to heart attacks. And also because your blood pressure goes up, you could get a stroke. You could get a hemorrhagic stroke. You could get a stroke of any kind because your blood pressure is going up. But there are still other diseases that we can see from chronic stress. So if you see these things, then you, especially when you have treated them and they still come back, then check, maybe you are in chronic stress. Something like fatigue. You are always tired. And maybe it may be because you are chronically stressed. You may also have irritability. You easily get angry. That is easily irritated. That is also something that is a sign of stress. You may also have headaches of all kinds, all constant headaches. That may also be a sign that you are being stressed. And also, you may have intestinal problems. You may have problems with digestion. You may not be able to, keep things down as much. Your digestive system, you may actually get a gastroesophageal reflux disease because of what we call GERD, because of stress. You could get constipation. Some people, when they are stressed, they get diarrhea. So either chronic constipation or chronic diarrhea, all coming out of stress. You could also be anxious. It could be in depression. You could have anxiety of unknown etiology, or you don't know why you are anxious all the time. It's probably because you are chronically stressed. You could also have weight gain. That is obvious from our previous discussion about how cortisol can make you continuously keep your glucose levels high. That could lead to weight gain. And also, you could also have low libido. You could have erectile dysfunction. We have also talked about those on our channel. If you want to know more, you could go back and look for those. So erectile dysfunction, low libido, and all those coming from stress. In women, there could be irregular menstruation. You could have irregular cycles, all coming out of stress. So stress can be very harmful to the body if not checked. In particular, when we're talking about stress in this sense, we're talking about chronic stress. Also, stress makes your immune system weaker. So if you are in a constant stress, or if you're in a constant stressful situation, or if you are chronically stressed, you are releasing obviously more cortisol. And though cortisol may be beneficial when it is in lower amounts, constant release and higher amounts of cortisol will actually suppress your immune system. So people who are chronically stressed also don't fight infections as good. Any small infection they cannot beat, and they are always constantly sick. Always, they have a cold all the time. They have a cough all the time. They are sick all the time. You got to check on your stress level. If you feel that sense of always fighting and fleeing due to a job situation, due to a marriage situation, due to your kids, due to something that is not going away, then it becomes harmful to your own body. And we're going to suggest another video in which you can mitigate or beat stress so that your diseases can be kept in check. And we want to say that, beloved, wish above all things that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers.